friends, it's Teresa and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be me doing an unhaul. I think it's been about maybe a little under a year since I've done my last unhaul, maybe even a year since I've done my last unhaul. But either way, I found some books while I was moving that I was like, oh, these were meant to go a long time ago. Found some books that I meant to be like, oh, we're keeping these. So let's just kind of get into it because I have like a gigantic pile on the floor in front of me. And I'm afraid because I gotta go somewhere in a little bit. So the first book I'm getting off is City of Thieves by David Benoit, I don't know. I read this back, I think, my senior year of college. Meant to get rid of this a long time ago, and I thought to myself, you know what, maybe I can like this. Maybe I'll end up liking this. I have not thought about this book since I read it. It's time for it to go. It needs to go home. Let's find a new home. Then we got As I Lay Dying by William Faulkner. I did enjoy this book. I liked it. But again, I haven't thought about it since I read it for school, so therefore it needs to find a new home that is not mine. And this next chunk is just a bunch of childhood books that my mom made me like not want to get rid of. Like my mom refused to let me get rid of them. Like I tried to when I moved out and I didn't. And that one is a chewed up version of the Witch book. I think this is number 4. We got Witch number, I think, oh okay, it's Witch number 2, Witch number 4, and then the first Witch book. And then after that I have a bunch of the Tinkerbell books. I have Ronnie and the Mermaid Lagoon. I have Trouble with Tink. And then Tink North of Neverland. Read these back when I was an itty bitty child. My mom did not want me to get rid of them, so I kept them for a long time. But you know, things gotta go. We gotta have a nice time. The next set of books I'm getting rid of is actually the entire Raven Cycle quartet. That is the Raven Cycle. Then we got Dream Thieves, and then Blue Lily Blue, and then The Raven King. This is by Maggie Stiefvater, probably her most popular set of books to date. I read them a long time ago and I planned on making a series where I reread them and see if I wanted to keep them. But the longer they're on my shelves, the less interested I am in ever reading them again. Did I enjoy the series when I first read them? Yes. Have I thought about them since? Yeah, but not enough to want to reread / want to keep them on my shelves for any potential future rereads. If I want to reread them, I have a library. They just don't need to be taking up space on my shelves anymore. Okay, the next book that I'm going to get rid of is actually One Day by David Nichols. This is the book that the movie is based off of. I read the book years and years ago. I think like starting off my YouTube like journey. I have to say, I prefer the movie. I feel like the book just moves kind of oddly. The pacing's a little weird and I wasn't a fan. I didn't have as much of an emotional attachment to the characters in the books as I did the movies, which is very odd to say. Especially for me, because half the time I typically do prefer the books over the movies. Like, in terms of like which one would be my favorite. The next one is My Policeman by Bethan Roberts. Read this for a vlog. I'll leave my vlog link down below for y'all, but I just wasn't a fan of the book. I felt like the entire like main guy that we were centering this entire novel around just felt very flat for me. I didn't enjoy his personality at all in the slightest. Wasn't a fan of his character, and I was just like, listen, if we were gonna have a weird love triangle where the man is gay and he's in love with a man but married to a woman, the guy has to be interesting, because especially in this time when like they will both face like social like turmoil otherwise. I just felt like he felt really flat, and especially since like back in the where this is like 1960s, I want to say, in London, you could get like tossed in jail for being gay. So I was just like, if you're gonna sacrifice your entire being for a man, I need it to be worth it, gay or not. And Tom was just not worth it to me. I'm hoping that the movie will have a little bit more of an emotional impact, but the book just fell really flat for me, I'm not gonna lie. The next book that I'm unhauling is A Rage in Harlem by Chester Himes. I did enjoy this book. I have reread this in the past, but I just have no interest in like continuing to reread or continuing to read on in the series. So I just need to give it a new home. Hopefully someone will enjoy it. It was a really fun read and I highly do recommend it. I just don't love it enough to have it keep a space in my home. You know, so it can go to a different home. Hopefully someone will love it. But if my professor who recommended this book to us and made us read it in high school ever sees this video, it's not personal. I can't do it anymore. I can't have the book here. The next one is Miranda in Milan by Catherine Duckett. I read this a few last year, back in 2020, I want to say. I did enjoy this book. It was decent. It wasn't fun. Like it definitely had its moments, but I just, you know, can find a different home elsewhere. Hopefully you'll feel better in that home. My home is sadly just not that home for it. The next book is actually Dr. Faustus by Christopher Marlowe. Another class book. I never got a chance to read it because everyone's copies of this book for that class was severely like delayed. We didn't get those copies until like midway through the semester, and I wanted to keep it because I like the concept of the Faustian deal. I wanted to read the original work where that like concept's based off of, but I haven't read it at all. I don't know if I'll have plans or want to read it, so maybe I'll donate it to the secondhand bookstore, and a young college student who needs to read Dr. Faustus will be able to find it and love it, and it'll be great. But sadly, I have no plans on reading it. So the next one is Heavy Metal by Andrew Burrell. I bought this book years ago, I think for one of my, it was an extra credit thing I had to go to. Then I was very intrigued by the novel, like it's even signed by the author and like it's written to me, and it's by someone who is from, I believe, Reno themselves, or set in Reno, one of the two, which is half the reason why I wanted to buy it. But I've had this for years, and I genuinely have no want to read it, and maybe someone else will find a want to read it too and just rip out the page where it says my name on it. The next book is actually one from like a textbook class, and that is Classic Readings in Cultural Anthropology by Gary Ferraro. This is the 3rd edition. Freshman year, bought it for a class. I really did enjoy its readings, and it taught me a lot of stuff. I think I even highlighted, or it was highlighted. But no plans on picking it up ever again. I never studied anthropology after that, like the first, like, I think 101 and 102, so who knows. I'm sure some college student will end up needing it. I don't know. A lot of these books are from high school, and it was just me trying to like keep them in order to feel like I was an accomplished reader. But now I read smut often, which isn't a bad thing. It doesn't mean I am any less accomplished than others, but that just means I stopped caring about what academia thinks. The next book is The Dubliners by James Joyce. Read it for an Irish lit class. The few times that I can do an Irish accent. I did enjoy The Dubliners. It was fun. James Joyce is a really great writer, but I just, you know, no plans to reread it. It's taking up shelf space. The next one is In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. Again, had to read it for a class. I skimmed it. I skimmed the fucker, if that tells you anything about where I was in English, as most English majors are. But I skimmed it, had plans to actually sit down and read the book, and then the plans decided to say fuck you and walk away. The next one is Ilustrado by Miguel Ciuco. I read this back in 2020. I have it tabbed up, so I have to remove the tabs before I give it off. But like, I just was not a fan of the book. I did not like it. Did not understand the point in it. I was just like, okay, tell me what I'm supposed to enjoy, and I could not find a reason. So it's going somewhere else. Maybe someone else will find it and enjoy it, but I did not like it at all. I read the book at the end and was like, what the fuck am I supposed to go with this? And I was like, we're good. We're Gucci. We'll just end it here. The next book is Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter by Erica L. Sanchez. I did enjoy this book. It was a lot. The book generally had, there was a lot going on in this book that I, like, struggled with mentally and emotionally. But I just have no interest in reading it again. None at all. It was interesting, but that's about as far as I can go with it. And I want these books to find a happy home. And I am not that happy home. And it can't suffer on my account. The next one is one of those books I bought early on in my booktube series when I was just buying books just to buy them, and that is Oxford Ghost Stories, or the Oxford Book of English Ghost Stories, chosen by Michael Cox and R.A. Gilbert. I do love me a good ghost story, don't get me wrong. Y'all know me, I love horror. But I just don't have any plans to read it, and because of that, I cannot continue reading it, so I will let it go, like Elsa did with her future in the first movie. I'm adjusting. The next one is A Brief and Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde by Junio Diaz. I did enjoy this book. It was a very sad book for me to read, but I have heard very disturbing things about Junio Diaz since I finished this book in college, so I don't want it anymore. It can go away. So, unhauling. We're getting to the last of the books I read for college. The next one is another textbook-ish, and that is Readings in Classical Chinese Philosophy by Philip J. Ivanhoe and Brian W. Van Norden. As for class, I think this is how I learned about cynicism, the concept of cynicism and all that stuff. Enjoyed the readings, enjoyed it. I remember a lot about this book, I'm not gonna lie, which is odd, because I don't think we read the entire book. but I remember a lot from this book. I enjoyed it. It was definitely fun, definitely interesting, good time. And finally, the last book from my college days is Contemporary Moral Arguments, Reading and Ethical Issues by Louis Vaughn. I read this for one of my very first classes in college, and that was for my my philosophy of ethics and morals class. I had a fun in class, and I really do enjoy this book on morals, and I am neither a philosopher nor do I want to keep a very old, this is second edition, so a very old version of like this novel, of this specific textbook, so we will leave it. The next one is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. Did I like this book when I read it? Yes. Do I think it's phenomenal? Yes. Am I also exhausted of the fact that every single person, every white woman who's like pro-choice keeps talking about how it's becoming The Handmaid's Tale, when clearly the stories, as Margaret Atwood said herself, were based off of the struggles of brown and black people? Like, literally, y'all, if I hear one more white woman on any social media look at any abortions topic and go, it's becoming The Handmaid's Tale, I'm gonna throw up. So it's just how some of y'all have handled it just puts a really bad taste in my mouth. So I want to unhaul this book so I don't have to see it in my shelves and just go because I can just picture an annoying little white woman going, oh my god, it's The Handmaid's Tale, it's The Handmaid's Tale, it's The Handmaid's Tale, it's The Handmaid's Tale, we're living in the handmaid. No, I can't do it anymore. I can't do it. Thank you for ruining a book for me. And then we got Memoirs of a Geisha by Arthur Golden. Do I love this novel? Yes, I've reread this multiple times, and after a couple of rereads I was like, oh, I can see the problematic aspects now. Either way, it's just very much like the vibes in the book became very off. I wasn't a huge fan of like the sexualization of the geisha, of like the manipulation of younger women, and like the glorification of the practice, I suppose. So I'm unhauling. The next book is Sorcerer of the Wild Peace by Kai Ashante Wilson. Enjoyed the book. I thought that like the fantastical elements were great. I loved the aspect of bringing AAVE to it. My biggest issue was that it was too short. I felt like the concept of the book needed to be in a larger scale. And the last two books in this unhaul is Payback's a Witch by Lana Harper. I have a book of the week, I think, on this, so I'll leave that link down below for y'all to enjoy. And finally, finishing off this unhaul and topping off my I don't care about messing with a collection situation is King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. If y'all, I did read King of Scars for like a vlog where I read all of the Geisha universe, or the Grisha universe novels before the release of Shadow and Bone, and then King of Scars was decent. I wasn't a fan of it. And then I read Rule of Wolves, which I will leave the link down below for y'all, and it ruined the entire universe for me. So I'm gonna do what a lot of people like to do, and that is remove the thing that makes them uncomfortable, that they don't want to like physically see in their lives, and pretend it does not exist, much like America does with its history. So we're taking a lesson in the colonizers for once, because this duology ruined the universe for me, and I no longer wish to look at it. But that is it for this unhaul. I think it's a pretty sizable unhaul, I'm not gonna lie. I'm sure in the future I'll be doing more of them, just because it's the nature of buying things, you gotta get rid of some things, but not a bad unhaul, I'm not gonna lie. But if you guys want to see more unhauls, I do have a playlist link down below for y'all, so y'all can see my thoughts and all my discussions. But until next time, let me know in the comments what videos you guys would like to see from me, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.